Thank you guys for joining us for another episode of the Sit Down with Malik Wright, presented by First Star Logistics. We are live from the First Star Logistics studio here in Cincinnati, Ohio. As always, with my crew, we've got Jules, we've got Evan, we've got Daniel, we've got a pissed off Malik. Why? Because Evan, you have bragging rights over me. You have bragging rights over me because your team evidently showed up. It doesn't matter if your team is an eighth seed. Heat culture is a real thing. Boston's culture is not a real thing. Joe Mazzulla is a fraud of a coach. Jaylen Brown needs to be traded. Jason Tatum is a fraud of a superstar. And we're going to get into all those things. I'm going to discuss to you why I feel the way that I feel. But before we do, make sure you guys give this video a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, turn on post notifications. And as always, join in on the discussion. Drop your comments down below. If you guys think I'm a jackass, put that in the comment section because I have a few things that I got to get off my chest about this Boston Celtics team. But before I do, Evan, look at me for a second, buddy. Congratulations. Congratulations. Your team is 3-0 on the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics were supposed to steamroll your team. The Boston Celtics were supposed to be advancing on to the NBA Finals. The Boston Celtics were supposed to be their coming out party. This was supposed to be the year in which we resurrected all those demons of the past. This was supposed to be the year where Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum put it all together. This was supposed to be the year where we were supposed to finally climb the avalanche and sit atop of the NBA throne. And thanks to Jimmy Butler, Eric Spoelstra, Bam Adebayo, Duncan Robinson, Caleb Martin, a guy who was once cut by the Hornets is now putting up 19, 20 points on us. You got backups like Gabe Vincent. I'm not backups. You got guys who weren't even drafted, like Gabe Vincent, right? Or Max Strus playing like absolute stars right now. And an aging Al Horford, Marcus Smart, our two quote-unquote superstars in Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum aren't enough. Robert Williams isn't enough. The city of Boston deserves better. I have a lot more that I want to say on this topic, a lot more that I want to get off my chest. But before I do, Evan, I'm going to kick this off to you. I want you to bask in your glory right now and talk about what is so special about this goddamn Heat culture that always finds a way against all odds to pull it out.
Man, this goes back to reviving the careers of Goran Dragic, Jay Crowder, James Johnson, Derek Jones, Hassan Whiteside. They've done this with second rounders, cast offs, old veterans from other teams that might be sputtering out. Dion Waiters, when everybody had given up on him, actually looked capable when he was in Miami. It's their ability to get these guys, develop these guys. Gabe Vincent was not originally a point guard. Miami saw that potential with him, worked with him gradually, and got him to where he's developed those skills more now. It's I talked about it before the playoffs because Miami is one of those teams where we've talked about it in other conversations where you are not given a spot. You will get a large contract, and sometimes in other situations, you'll play your minutes based on that because they need to justify the contract or because that's just the hierarchy. Miami doesn't do that. They gave the big extension to Duncan Robinson, and he was inactive for a number of games this season and didn't play or wasn't a part of the rotation. And they just constantly have these guys waiting in the wings, and they can come off the bench. They can come out of not even playing in the lineup and suddenly start absolutely dominating. Just looking at their shooting from some of these guys. I mean, Max Strus, Gabe Vincent, Caleb Martin, these are the matchups that we expected to see guys like Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum really try and take advantage of. And we haven't seen that. And at the same time, they've all kind of turned up their offensive game where Gabe Vincent is shooting 38% compared to 33% during the regular season on three pointers, averaging another 4 points a game, another 2 assists per game. He's still shooting 41% from the field. You've got Caleb Martin turning his production up from 9.5 points to 12.5 points per game, shooting 41% from three. These are, again, as Malik referenced, undrafted guys that are out here beating the cream of the crop, one of the predestined rosters in the NBA that everyone said just pencil them in to the Eastern Conference Finals matchup. And Miami is showing, I think, now that we knew they had talented players. I think it's fair to say that Boston has more talent and more depth that you would feel comfortable relying on. But I think we're seeing that the biggest mismatch in this series is Eric Spoelstra versus Missoula. I think that's the biggest difference you see. And you see it in, we talked about how they attack matchups, how they constantly are switching and hunting for Grant Williams or for Derek White or whoever's on the field that they're on the floor that they want to attack. You don't see Boston do that with the same kind of urgency and fervor. And the times that they don't do Jimmy Butler isolation plays, they have the ball moving quickly. It's crisp. Everyone's very decisive. That ball is moving all over the place, and they give up good backdoor cut looks for layups out to other guys who are open shooters, and they knock down their shots. They've been shooting the lights out this entire time. Take out the Knicks series, and they're shooting like over 50% from 3 points in the playoff games. So they are just they caught fire at the right time. Everybody is just scorching hot right now. Eric Spoelstra's in his bag. I mean, even on the ISO plays for Jimmy, when they started saying, okay, the Celtics have this figured out, they're starting to try and double Jimmy and zone up the rest of it. They started saying, okay, we're going to put a wrinkle off that. We're going to have Bam Adebayo come off that. We're going to have Max Strus or Gabe Vincent fly suddenly to the ball side and get the Celtics all out of whack. And then they get a Caleb Martin three wide open off of it. We talked about you've got to have an answer for everything that the other team is going to throw at you. And we've seen Eric Spoelstra have an answer for everything, and the Heat are practiced at it. They are ready for it. And the Celtics just look lackluster, listless, lazy, sloppy out there. And the Heat are crisp and confident in what they're doing. And it's really night and day difference looking at the mentality of these two teams right now.
The Celtics looks like they already want to be done. I mean, they quit. The difference right now is that Miami doesn't rely on superstars. Like Evan said, up and down the roster, everyone's contributing in some way. And when Jimmy Butler's not leading the way, Duncan Robinson stepping up, Gabe Vincent stepping up. They play as a team. Just like if you're any type of fan of basketball, you love team ball. It's old school ball. And you don't see that much anymore. And they don't need these star players because Boston's star players aren't showing up. Miami doesn't need that at all. And I'm happy for the Heat, honestly, because, well, Kevin Love's on their team, and I know he's hurt. I didn't know what happened, but I like them. And I've been watching Duncan Robinson since college, so I'm really excited that I did not expect this to happen. I think last show I said that the Heat would go up 2-0, but then Boston would come back. But they seem to not have an answer. We're going on the game 4, and they still can't figure it out. I think Miami needs to get the brooms out because I think it's going to be a sweep. Sorry.
This is probably the most sad I've been on the show. I have no words, honestly. I have no words for the lackluster effort Boston has put forth. Usually, guys know me be very pumped up, very jazzed up, very excited. I'm just ashamed of Boston altogether. And you know what? Most people want to blame Jaylen Brown. I'm not just going to blame Jaylen Brown. You see, and I think he's being scapegoated even on our show. Credit to our producer, Danielle Almeida, who put this nice graphic together, and he only put Jaylen Brown's face on here. It should be Jason Tatum's face up there with him. It should be Joe Mazzulla's face up there with them. It should be Marcus Smart's face up there with them. It should be Al Horford's face up there. It should be Robert Williams' face up there. The list can go on and on and on and on and on again about whose face should be up there, but Jason Tatum should share the blunt of the blame. And that's the problem I have with Celtics fans. Celtics fans want to scapegoat somebody. And guess what? The obvious scapegoat right now is Jaylen Brown. The obvious scapegoat right now is Jaylen Brown. I'm here to tell you right now, he is not just the only person that should be blamed for this. It should also be our quote-unquote superstar and Jason Tatum, who went missing, who scored 14 points. That's who it should be. That in the biggest moment, he failed. In the biggest moment, you're supposed to want that ball in your quote-unquote superstar, difference maker, X Factor's hands, and turnover after turnover, sloppy play after sloppy play. Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. And it isn't just Jaylen Brown. Now, Jaylen Brown, I'm sure, probably will get traded. Jaylen Brown is probably going to get traded off for some superstar. And guess what? Celtics fans will forget. And Celtics fans will say, oh, you know what? Jason Tatum, now we have another superstar next to him. And they'll fall in love with whoever that next superstar or said player is without obviously talking about Jason Tatum. This is the same Jason Tatum that sat up there just a few games ago and said, I honestly believe I'm one of the best basketball players. We'll play like it. And I got ridiculed on social media. I was called a hater. I was called this. I was called that because I sat up there and I was the only person in Celtic Nation holding that man accountable. I don't give a damn if you're a Celtics fan. I don't give a damn if you love Jason Tatum and you got a kid-sized jersey of him. I'm going to call it like I see it. That dude did not show up. Time and time again, that dude did not show up. And we could blame Jaylen Brown all we want. The fact of the matter is, if it wasn't for the performance of Jaylen Brown, we probably wouldn't even be in this spot, because there were multiple times in that series against the Philadelphia 76ers in which Jason Tatum once again did not show up. Last year in the playoffs, again, Jason Tatum did not show up. Who was one of our most consistent players in the playoffs last year? It was Jaylen Brown. So I understand it's easy to forget because it's a thankless league and it's what have you done for me lately. But if we're going to call out Jaylen Brown, you got to also call out Jason Tatum. I'm here to call out Jason Tatum. I'm here to do what other people won't do. I'm here to say it like it is. The fact of the matter is, to be the quote-unquote leader, X Factor, superstar of this team that everybody called Jason Tatum, then you expect more from Jason Tatum other than 14 damn points. Because guess what? That offense ticks through him. When he says, give me the ball, they give him the ball. When he says, hey, I'm going to make a play, they allow him to make play after play after play. It's downright pitiful. Because guess what? The fact of the matter is, when you look at Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, it's looked at as Jason Tatum's team. You expect Jason Tatum to be the one to uplift this team and show up. Nope, he didn't show up. He didn't show up. But we want to sit there and we want to blame Jaylen Brown, a guy that's got 1 foot in the door and 1 foot out the door. Come on, man.
Who's we, though? I don't think anybody's blaming just Jaylen Brown.
Well,
who's we? No one's blaming just Jaylen Brown. Come on.
I disagree.
No, everyone's saying it rightfully.
I mean,
so.
what's even with this? What's it look what you like? It's even in the subtle stuff. It's even in the subtle things. Look at this goddamn thing you put together.
I could have definitely added.
You could have 100% added that.
I could have, but
you could have 100% added.
But if we're having a conversation,
we're not. Because guess what?
What?
Everything in life is about. Look, context matters, right?
Yeah.
Everything in life, context matters.
Yeah.
Somebody that turns on this damn show and they see the Celtics should be ashamed and they see Jaylen Brown's face up there, what are they going to think? Jaylen Brown's the reason why the team didn't do well.
Fair.
And guess what?
But if they listen to the content, they'll know.
It's not even live from the First Star Logistics studio. It's right up in Bristol, Connecticut. When you watch ESPN or when you watch whatever, everyone is placing blame on everybody but the quote unquote X Factor superstar. Sure, you hear it in passing, oh, their superstars didn't show up. But no, I'm fully placing blame on Joe Mazzulla, on Jaylen Brown, or Jason Tatum. But for me, Jaylen Brown shouldn't be up there by himself. He should not wear the brunt. That's the guy that's going to be out of the door at the end of this season. He's going to probably get traded in the off season, or he's going to walk the following year. The fact of the matter is, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, this is his team.
Yep.
This is his team. And he didn't show up. And I know that might not be the popular thing because kids love Jason Tatum. And people love Jason Tatum, and Jaylen Brown's the easiest guy to throw under the bus. But no, I'm going to throw Jason Tatum under the bus too.
More turnovers than assists this series.
Right.
As well as Jaylen Brown.
Right. Didn't show up.
Can't have that.
But we sitting up here want to praise Jason Tatum and Jason Tatum. No, I'm just saying, not you, Daniel. But there were a lot of people there was a lot of people after that. There was a lot of people after that 16-point performance in that almost 40 game. Oh, Jason Tatum, he's a difference maker. He's this, that, and the third. Really? You got smoked on your home court. You lost 2-0 to the Miami Heat, the 8th seed Miami Heat, who aren't playing like an 8th seed, by the way. And then you get embarrassed. But you know what? Enough about Jason Tatum. Enough about Jaylen Brown. Joe Mazzulla. This is a guy that was lauded as the next best coach. This is a guy that said, oh, his organization skills are so good. And people are like, oh, no, he was thrown into the fire at 34 years old. This is a guy that holds on to timeouts like he has a date later. I mean, like, this dude is just in over his head as a coach. And I hate to be the guy to rip on a guy that's finally getting his break. This is a Celtics team that had championship aspirations. Anything short of a championship, let alone a finals appearance, is considered a failure. It's considered a letdown. This guy should be fired at the end of the season. I'm just going to call it like it is.
What point of the playoffs are we at right now? Semifinals for the conference?
Semifinals, right? Yeah.
And you still don't know what rotation you work with, what works well.
Bro put Peyton Pritchard in the rotation 2 games ago, only to not play him again, only to then put him back And the next time he played was when they were getting blown out. The dude waved the white flag in an elimination game, a quitter's mentality, put his third stringers in and put Peyton Pritchard in. Oh, by the way, he had Marcus Smart in with those guys. Marcus Smart, your starting point guard, is in with your third string lineup, Luke Cornett and Peyton Pritchard. What sense does that make? If you're going to wave the damn white flag, wave the white flag altogether. Take all your starters out. You got your quote-unquote starting point guard, who, by the way, isn't really a starting point guard, but you guys will find that out sooner rather than later. You got your quote-unquote starting point guard in there with your third stringers hoisting up 3-point shots. Like, what the hell is that supposed to prove? What coach in an elimination game, conference finals, fighting for your playoff lives, waves the white flag at the start of the fourth quarter? It takes everybody out. What coach does that? I should have had them more prepared. You think? Wow, you're telling me everything that we should have known. Of course, you should have had them prepared. Al Horford was the damn coach in game. Was the damn coach game 3? Al Horford was sitting in the coach's seat. You know when he admitted, I lost the locker room. No, you know when you lost the locker room? When it was game 2 and you were losing on your home court, and instead of talking to your team during the timeout, you threw the clipboard down and walked away. That's when your team stopped listening to you, because you thought it was cool to throw a temper tantrum in that spot than actually trying to come together with a game plan. There is no offensive identity right now with the Boston Celtics. It's a lot of ISO ball. It's a lot of dribbling. Look at Jaylen Brown just in this game alone. Looking left, looking to the right, dribble, hoist up a 3, airballs it. That's the offense right now. That's the Celtics identity. And everybody's like, oh, give him a break. He's only 34. Is it? No. This is the team that at its worst. This is probably the worst team-oriented Boston Celtics basketball I've seen in quite some time. And they still made it to the conference finals. So it shows you that the talent is there. But it's going to take a little bit more than talent to beat one of the best coaches, if not the best coach in the NBA. And Eric Spoelstra and that well-coached Miami Heat team. You got people really thinking, oh, they're going to beat the Miami Heat on the Miami Heat's court. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that ain't happening. Al Horford hoisting up 3s, airballing 3s at 37 years old. Marcus Smart being so passive. Like, it's bad, man. You got defenders chasing Duncan Robinson around like chickens with their head cut off. It's bad. The
lack of playmaking kills them, man.
Oh, my God.
Like, we talked about it where if you're a Jokic, LeBron, if you're that level of a star, right, you've got to be able to pivot when it's not working for you. You've got to have some other method or means of scoring, elevating your team to help when they're dedicating all these resources to going after you. And we talked about it before with Tatum having more turnovers than assists in these 3 games. Like, that playmaking element has not been there. That ability to set others up. You see that with Jimmy on the other side with the ball. Like, yes, he does a lot of ISO ball stuff. Sure, he does a lot of just physical driving through you and bully ball. But at the same time, he's also averaging over 5 assists per game. He's finding ways to involve his teammates. That's a way that you kind of elevate the offense altogether and help things continue to run smoothly. The Lakers have sent everybody they can at Jokic, whether that's Anthony Davis, whether that's Hachimura, whether that's LeBron, and he's constantly found ways to make them pay for that. And you've got to be able to do that if you really want to consider yourself to be elite, be a star. And I don't see that. And you said to yourself, Marcus Smart is their pseudo point guard who's not really the playmaker. He's not really out there to do that. And I tried to tell
fellow Celtics fan, he ain't no point guard. He is not no damn point guard. He is a shooting guard, okay, that is a very damn good defender. That's what he is. Oh, no, he's our point guard. No, the Celtics have needed a point guard for quite some time. It's very, very clear. Their offense is non-existent. It's the reason why they're playing iso ball. You know what a point guard's job is to do? It's to facilitate. It's to maneuver the offense. The offense was not maneuvering under Marcus Smart. At this point, I'd rather have goddamn Kyle Lowry. I'm just being honest. I am so disgusted with the excuses that get made for the Boston Celtics over and over and over and over and over again. That's the bother. That's where I am bothered about what this whole entire thing with the Boston Celtics. And, to me, like, a team doesn't just fall off a cliff like that. Like, yeah, Ime Udoka, he had issues, and whatever those issues were, I'm sure had their reasons for getting rid of the guy. That's not what I'm so I'm not going to even rip on them from that. But what I'm going to say is that says a lot when that guy had us in the finals last year, and this guy can't even make adjustments on the fly. It says a lot. It says a lot. So Boston deserves better. And unfortunately, the tandem between Boston and, with Boston, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum is probably going to be done. It's probably going to be done. So I had a different question. Where do we think Jaylen Brown even goes? Because I want the guy at the team. The guy's aura is bad. It seems like he doesn't want to be there. It seems like he's unhappy. What do we think?
It's tough, man. I don't think the Celtics, especially after this, are going to be eager to give him the max that he's probably.
Hell no, I wouldn't want to.
Now, obviously, they can offer him more years and more money than other teams do, but I think once they don't want to offer him that max, he's going to walk and want to go somewhere else. So you talked about them trading him. I struggle to say maybe if Portland has a decent pick this year and keeps Dame and they think, oh, we can piece this together.
No, they got to come up off Dame.
I think they should too. I think
Yeah.
they need to move on and kind of rebuild. I don't know what the Mavericks are going to do, being that Jaylen Brown could be that off-ball forward while Luka is more of the point forward. I think that could be fine. I don't know, man. It's going to be tough because you got to have the cap maneuverability to make it work.
Mhm.
But you also have to have the incentive to get him, which he, to be fair, is one of the league's premier 3-and-D kind of wing guys.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry to cut you off. I always got to be. Trey believes, brother, I don't say it as often, but respectfully, what are you talking about? Talking about the Lakers should be disappointed and the Celtics should be ashamed. The shame seems harsh. The Celtics can come back in what world? In what world? Where have they shown you under any circumstances, right? Under any circumstances, where the hell have they shown you they could come back? Come back from what? From what? You got your superstar putting up 14 points. 14 points.
He's settling for jump shots too, man. Like he's getting these switches on Gabe Vincent, on Max Strus, and then he's just not taking him to the rack. I mean, he's huge. He's long. He's athletic. He's a great finisher. You just haven't seen that same aggression.
I'm just disappointed. I'm just disappointed in everything, honestly. They can't come back. I'm a realist. I'm going to call it like it is. They're dead. They're dead in the water. They're sleeping with the fishes. They've got no shot. Calling Luca Brasi from The Godfather. It's over with. They've quote unquote cashed out. The Celtics are done. They're checked out.
Got to win 4 straight. What
They're
is
beating
what
the
is
Heat 4 straight.
straight?
I don't think they can win on that
that's
damn
not possible.
court. Right. They can't even win
It's
on that
never
damn
happened
court.
before.
And that team isn't certainly doing it,
it's not
especially when you have a coach, who doesn't believe in it. The coach already packed it in.
They sounded despondent in their press conference. They were like,
They
"The
look
Heat have it."
despondent.
They're like, the Heat have it. We don't.
He
Like,
literally was like, I don't know what they need, and then said, I just didn't have them ready to play. Like, what do you mean? That's your job. Not ready to play in game 3? Like, I just don't get it.
Jules, real quick, I just want to add something. Where I knew about Joe Mazzulla was game 1. As soon as the Heat threw the zone at the Celtics, they didn't know what the hell to do. They didn't know what the hell to do. And for me, like you guys gotta understand, that's high school. The same thing. Throwing a clipboard at the ground, that's high school. That's high school stuff. What are you doing?
right.
And you don't know how to beat a zone? You said that time and time again, it gets our offense out of rhythm. That's why you're a head coach in the National Basketball Association.
Especially when you got a guy like Horford that you could easily just put at the free
Put him in
throw
the
line,
middle.
put him at the elbow, and just let him be the playmaker and just pick the zone apart. Yeah, I agree.
And I just want to say I feel bad for Celtics fans, like the genuine Celtics fans, because I went back and I looked at
What do you mean by the genuine?
not
Celtics
you,
fans?
not you. I'm saying even for
Oh,
myself,
like
I'm a
Not you.
diehard, but at the
Okay.
same time, like I've never been to a game. I feel bad for the lifelong,
Yeah.
like the ones who truly live and breathe this, because it's like 6 years ago, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, young. Okay, you've got it. Then you add Kyrie. Okay, didn't work. Then the next year, you got it. You get hurt in the playoffs. Okay, take the Heat to 6 games. Then you go and make the finals, and then it's our year. It's our year. It's our year. Is it ever going to be the year?
Not with this damn core. And it all started when those rumors started surfacing about Jaylen Brown, Kevin Durant, whether they were fake or not, they came out. Who knows where the mind wanders? If someone says, oh, your boyfriend, or your girlfriend are doing this, doing that, your mind's going to wander. You're going to start thinking things. And guess what? Trust will become a factor. It's the same thing with this. Trust is at the center of every single relationship. Without trust, there's nothing. The Celtics have nothing with Jaylen Brown. It's dead in the water. They need to move on from each other. Simple as that. This thing is not salvageable. The dude seems dejected on the court. It almost seems like he's trying to compete out there with Jason Tatum. Like he's trying to be the star of the show. And that's why he's trying to force it. That's why he's trying to push it. And that's why it's faking.
I've got a question for you guys. I want to go to Jules real quick.
Oh, God.
Can Jason Tatum succeed as a number one on a team? Or does he need a player that's better
Yes.
than him?
Jules,
I think he can. Do you think he can? Like what?
No,
I
no,
guess if you don't-
I was
okay.
just posing it.
I think he can.
Yeah.
I think he can. I think it's extremely hard for those two to play with each other.
Yeah, I
personally,
just
though.
don't think they
I think
play
they're
good
the
together.
same kind of mold where they're like,
Yes,
hey, I'm going to be the
100%.
slashing, spot up, 3-point shooting,
100%.
drive at you, play good defense guy. And it's like, again, they're just throwing the ball back and forth,
Yeah.
taking turns when you have no one to actually facilitate, set up the
Correct,
offense.
yeah.
And that's also, again, we talk about the coaching. What's built in off of that? You're going to get on the Miami Heat, you're going to get a Kyle Lowry, Caleb Martin handoff up top, and then you're going to have Bam at the elbow, and Bam's going to get it at the elbow, and then he's going to have someone cutting back door, and he's going to hit Caleb Martin back door, and then Caleb Martin's going to go underneath, and he's going to swing it out to Gabe Vincent. You have that where the ball is flying around, and you've got all these different reads and options built in, whereas the Celtics have just you haven't seen that level of execution, that
They
level of
need
preparation.
someone to be able to lead that offense.
Mhm.
I can't believe what I'm about to say. The Celtics would be great with a James Harden. And I mean that. I didn't say James Harden's great. The Celtics would be great with a James Harden.
Harden for Brown.
A guy that can facilitate, a guy that can kick it out to Jason Tatum on the wing. That's a guy that could help elevate this team. You don't need him to be the scorer every single night. You don't need him to match tit for tat with you. That's not what you need. You need a guy that can do the quote unquote thing that they like to do, and that's play ISO ball right now, right? And that can facilitate this offense around and get guys their buckets. He would excel. Am I wrong in saying that?
Oh, with shooters around him. I can that's what they need. Yeah, somebody that can actually run a pick and roll. I've watched too many Jason Tatum, Robert Williams pick and rolls this year that suck.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. I don't hate that. Because he can have the games where it's like a 10, 15-point game and he won't be ridiculed because you got Malcolm Brogdon who scored 20, you got Derek White who scored 15, you got Al Horford at 4 threes. I don't hate that.
I wouldn't mind James Harden in Boston personally. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Mind. I think he would do well.
I agree with that, honestly. I like that. Well,
And
not for my team, but I like that for you.
let's see what Treewood Leaves is saying in the comment section. He said you can read some of these questions. Just
Yeah.
give us a 5 second.
Trees would leave said the Heat had trouble scoring in the regular season. Maybe Jimmy Butler's playoff zone may wear off. I don't know if that's necessarily a question, but more
In
so,
one game.
I think he's just talking about Jimmy Butler in the playoffs.
I think that's fair,
Gosh.
but you also had 6 players with 10 plus points yesterday from the Heat, where if you've got these guys shooting at the level that they do right now, that's tough because they've got all these different ways to hurt you. And then on top
Yeah,
of
they
that,
hurt me.
Jimmy can they've been able to use the pick and roll to kind of get these desired matchups at will, where they can just find ways. Like that's another area where the Celtics haven't adjusted well, is they continue to let the Derek White, Jimmy Butler matchup just die by it off these switches. And they need to figure out ways to counteract this because they're crucifying them. Again, the Heat offense is looking like a well-oiled machine. And yeah, they absolutely had trouble during the regular season. I was the first to tell you that they were not a legitimate contender when we were looking at these playoffs because of their offensive struggles, that their defense was really good, but you had to be able to score reliably on offense. And when the level was tuned up a little bit higher, I didn't think they'd be able to deliver, but they've shot the lights out and they've continued to do so. And until cold water gets thrown on Gabe Vincent, Duncan Robinson, Caleb Martin.
Those names, man.
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Those
Like, I
names.
mean, You
That's
can
what does
expect
it
it
for
to
me.
drop out, but I mean, these are all good looks that they're getting too, and they're just knocking them down. So I mean, you're gonna have to rely on them to miss open shots, or just you hoping for the Heat to lose their rhythm for 4 straight games is just a lot to ask for, in my opinion.
Yep. Moving on to the next thing, though, guys. Before we do, make sure you guys get this video like, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't done so already, and join in the discussion. We appreciate you guys all in the chat. We're going to get to all your questions, too, and your comments as well, because we like you guys joining the conversation. This poses the next question, right? Who has a better shot at coming back in their respective series? Is it the Los Angeles Lakers or is it the Boston Celtics? Jules.
I say the Lakers.
Why
I
is that?
think
Why do you think so?
LeBron. Well, I mean, he's done it before, not 3-0 though. That's different. I don't really see realistically any of them coming back, but if somebody does, it wouldn't necessarily shock me if it were the Lakers, because the Celtics look like they've already quit and like they're done, and they also just got blown out by, what was the final score, like 20, 25
Lost by
points?
28,
28.
28, 25, something.
I stopped watching after like, I think the second quarter.
I think the Celtics might have to.
I was like, I think they didn't come back after halftime.
For me, it says a lot when your coach is checked out.
Yeah, everyone's
When your
checked
coach
out.
checked out, it's over with. I think the Lakers, but a lot's going to ride on tonight. Obviously, I mean, that sounds stupid. Why did I just say that? Of course it rides on tonight. Duh, Malik. Yeah, it rides on tonight. The Lakers need to win tonight. But the Lakers also need to show that they figured something out tonight. And by figure something out, I don't care about Jokic. Jokic doesn't matter in this scenario. It doesn't. You know who matters? Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray.
Getting D'Angelo Russell off the court as much
Yeah.
as possible
Yeah.
matters. Getting
Yeah.
him and Schroeder off the court and finding other ways to match up.
Darvin Ham needs to stop being an idiot. And yes, I said an idiot. And stop with Dennis Schroeder. And Dennis Schroeder did a better job, I would say, on Jamal Murray. But starting the game with D'Angelo Russell after you know it does not work, after you know he is a defensive liability, what is wrong with you? Like, why do you keep getting cooked?
Just lost in transition.
Lack of effort. No heart being shown out there by that team. But the fact of the matter is, Rui Hachimura has given you great minutes. He's giving you great minutes, right? But the idea, whatever they did to Jamal Murray in the second half of the game the other night, that's what they need to do again. Press him full court. Have two guys crowd him. Make him be a facilitator. Force him to be that. If Jokic goes for 50, so goddamn what? We saw him go off in the Suns series, and we saw the Suns.
And they lost one of those games.
And did they lose the game where he scored 50 points?
Let me check. But
they might have lost that game where he scored. He went off and scored.
Yeah.
He lost, right? Against the Suns. So let Jokic do it. Let Jokic go off and go crazy. I don't care. I am selling out, and I am throwing the wood shed at Jamal Murray. That's what I'm doing. I don't care about Jokic in this series. The goal in this game tonight needs to be eliminate Jamal Murray. Eliminate Jamal Murray from this series. That's what it needs to be. Because if you do that, I genuinely believe the Lakers will win this series. They do. I genuinely do. Because guess what? You can't ask Jokic to do everything. Because with Jokic, I've realized something. It's either he goes crazy on the boards or he goes crazy at the points. He has the games where he can do, he has an average, not an average, but he has a really good game. But it's very seldom where he goes for 45 and then he goes 23 board. That doesn't really happen. He either goes into a game making a decision. He's either going to be a scorer or he's going to, be dominant on the boards. Seldomly he has those games you can put it all together. But for me, I think that I think you need to take Jamal Murray out the game and let Jokic beat you. Let Jokic, Bruce Brown, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Yeah. Let's say that name 3 times. Tongue twister. Jeff Green. Let those guys beat you. Let those guys. Let Aaron Gordon.
They have been good, but yeah, no,
sure.
That's a better strategy.
Yeah.
Than just sitting there letting Jamal Murray just bleed you out
Bro,
over and over again.
Jamal Murray is he is a flamethrower. He is the human torch. When that guy gets going, he dissects your team. I'm sorry. I am not letting him breathe on the court tonight. I am having a guy in his face. I'm having two guys in his face at all times tonight. He will not get any one-on-one matchup. I don't care if that guy is tying his shoe. I got a guy pulling the Lance Stevenson, blowing in his ear. I am on everywhere Jamal Murray goes on the court tonight. I'm having a guy tugging at his jersey, knocking into him, everything. I'm not giving that guy any space. I'll live with the consequences. If Kentavious Caldwell-Pope scores 25, shoot. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, he scored 25. If Jokic goes for 55 tonight, shoot. Jokic went for 55. But that's a result you've got to be willing to live with. You can't let Jamal Murray, because we know Jamal Murray could do it. He had 30 points in the first half. 30 points in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever Darvin Ham did the second half, he needs to do the first half and do it the rest of the game. And switch different defenders on him. That's what I do. Thoughts, Ev?
No, I agree. We talked about making teams uncomfortable, taking away what they like to do. And you can't obviously let Murray get to 30 points like that. And obviously they made their adjustments, but you have to continue with those adjustments going forward until they prove that they can consistently beat you with guys like Bruce Brown and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and Jeff Green.
What a name.
Yeah. When you start getting to the back end there, it's like those guys have been playing well. But again, you'd rather make those guys beat you than keep giving Jamal Murray good looks against D'Lo, who's been subpar.
But my thing is, why do it over
Bless you.
and over
Bless you,
and
thank
over
you.
and over and over and over again? You know it doesn't work. But yet still, you still put D'Lo out there. Why? Because you pay him $31 million a year? Why? It makes no sense. To me, you need to take Jamal Murray out the game and live with the results. Darvin Ham, like, that's what you got to do. And no, do not put LeBron James on Jamal Murray.
Yeah, no.
For the love of God, don't put LeBron James, Anthony Davis on Jamal Murray. Put Jared Vanderbilt or Dennis Schroeder on him. And you need to have help. You guys need to treat him like he's Stephen Curry. That's how you have to treat him. You have to treat Jamal Murray. I know he's not, but you have to treat Jamal Murray like he's Steph Curry. Exactly the same way they defend Steph Curry, where he runs around. You need to have a guy at his back, one guy at his front. You want to suffocate him on that court tonight. That's what it has to be. I just don't understand that. To me, that's elementary school stuff.
Go over on the screens, push them to the paint where you got help waiting in the paint, especially if you've got a bigger lineup out there. If you've got Vanderbilt out there at the same time Davis is.
Right.
If you've got LeBron, sink Davis behind him. I mean,
I'm starting those guys tonight, personally. I would start Dennis Schroeder tonight and Jared Vanderbilt with the sole purpose. I don't give a damn about Jokic. Those two guys are starting on the court to suffocate Jamal Murray.
you starting Reeves and Hachimura too?
Reeves, yeah.
Not Hachimura?
Again, I'm willing to live with the results tonight with Jokic. I don't think Jokic, like, I've seen Jokic burn out. I'm not letting Jamal Murray go crazy. I'm not. If Jokic is going to have a Jokic type performance, let him have it. I trust Anthony Davis to guard Jokic more than I trust someone else to guard Jamal Murray. I do. I believe Anthony Davis can get Jokic into foul trouble. And if Jokic gets into foul trouble too, yeah.
That's the golden ticket.
Yeah.
You need 4 straight games of AD aggressive.
Yes.
4 straight games, or else you're not going to win the series.
And that's a lot to ask.
Yeah.
So I guess that goes back to our original question: who's more likely to come back in their respective series, Lakers, Celtics? I want to hear your picks.
I mean, she said Lakers. I feel like Lakers just because of how despondent the Celtics have looked. I can't see them coming back from where they're at in the series right now. So not that I really feel confident the Lakers do either. I just don't feel like the Celtics have literally anything going for them.
Dan, you have your thoughts on that?
Lakers. Not even close. It's the
Yeah.
Lakers. Celtics are done. Celtics are done.
They're already out.
Is
They
it-
already got one foot out the door.
Is it weird to feel? I still feel like the Lakers might come back.
I still feel
You
like
got
they
faith,
will.
Malik. You got more faith in the average man.
I don't know.
think
I mean,
the
they're not
Lakers-
going to get swept. I think they'll win at least 2 more.
Yeah, the NBA
They're
won't
no-
let it happen.
They won't, because no, like 2 sweeps haven't happened before in the final, like conference finals.
Really? So yeah, NBA won't let it happen today. Lakers will win in today.
What?
And I agree with you, Malik. I don't know. You need it because the matchups are there. Like the Lakers have been competitive. It's up to looking at you look at the Lakers. Anthony Davis needs to be aggressive, and you got to get Jokic into foul trouble, and you just better hope Murray's cold.
I think
That's
Jamal
it.
Murray has an off night tonight. I don't know why. I just get that.
He's
vibe.
not great on the road. Normally he's not. That's the part that's weird. But he scored 31, 37,
But you like
37.
Contavious Caldwell Pope tonight.
I
don't you?
love
What do you
Caldwell
think he
Pope.
scores?
I think he scores 18.
I mean, they're gonna need it.
Yeah.
They're gonna need it. They're gonna need every bit of it.
And I just want to make one point, for the people that were talking about, some people may be confused by you saying, oh, let Jokic go off. It's very simple. If you let Jokic go off scoring, that takes away what his best ability is, and that's running the entire offense. He's a great passer. Their offense is multifaceted, but it's in any stretch of basketball. You look at one guy. If one guy's scoring, what's the rest of your team doing? That's why the Celtics haven't worked. That's why the Heat have worked. And to your point, you're saying Jokic can keep scoring. That's fine, because then that takes away Caldwell Pope, that takes away Murray, that takes away everybody else, and that's what the Lakers need.
Absolutely. Guys, if you guys could do us a favor, give this video a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and yeah, turn on post notifications so you guys do not miss when we go live. I want to keep the conversation rolling before we open it up to questions, as always. Tua Tagovailoa. Every year we hear the Tua, this is to make a break year for Tua, this is to make a break year for Tua, this is to make a break year for Tua. But this year feels a little bit different, obviously with concussions and, just so many questions surrounding Tua and his long-term health. I've got to ask you guys the question. What do we make of the future of Tua Tagovailoa? Is this truly a make or break year for him? And in a make or break year, what would quote unquote make this year special versus breaking it? Jules, what are your thoughts?
I think it is. I agree with your point saying that it seems like that every year, but I feel like every year after there has been an excuse. Like last year, obviously, he had 3 concussions. That sucks. And then they made him play after the first initial one, and then he got another one. And, looking at the stats before that, I mean, he was doing great. And then after the concussion, especially in the Packers game, it looked bad. And obviously it could have just, especially for the Packers game, I mean, after the concussion, he had 3 interceptions. So he could have just choked, or it could have been the concussion, or maybe a mixture of both. I feel like everyone's also saying, well, if he has a healthy year, he'll do good. I mean, you could say that about most people. I feel like there's quite a few people out there you could say that about. I don't know. I mean, Miami started out pretty good. They started out 8-3. I mean, that's pretty damn good. I wish my team could have done that, but well, I don't really have it. It's confusing. I have a complicated relationship with my team. Well, they didn't not have a problematic quarterback. Anyways, I mean, I think worrying about him staying healthy is a legit concern, but like I said, you can't deny that his stats before his concussion, they were great, obviously.
Yeah.
And I think now that he has a year's worth of experience under his belt with McDaniel's offense and more comfort with his weapons and the O-line, hopefully everyone stays healthy this year. I think he'll be fine. I think the Dolphins have a chance to make the playoffs, and assuming he's healthy, go pretty far. I like Tua. I've been a Tua fan since day one. So
I love that.
Only one.
I hate
love that.
saying the same thing of, well, if he stays healthy, because clearly he has a history of not, and hopefully history doesn't repeat itself this time. So
Jules, my best friend is a huge Tua supporter too.
I love Tua, man. I
and
don't know why,
don't
because
know
I
why.
actually hated Bama, and I just like the Dolphins because I think their colors are cool, like any other girl. But I don't know. I like Tua. I don't want to give up on him, but obviously, if he gets hurt or he just simply plays terrible, then
She said, "Say something."
break.
I'm giving up on you."
No, I didn't give up on Kevin Love the one year,
Oh,
and
gosh.
then not this past season, but the season before, he was up for 6th man of the year. So I don't want to hear it. I don't give up on people. I never do. But I'm not giving up on Tua. I'm high on him.
I'm about to say that's
I'm
a
gonna come
loaded.
back-
I have a loaded questions of response to that, but
Hey,
that's off camera. That's off camera. That
That
is
has nothing
off
to do with sports.
That is off camera.
Boo.
That had a double meaning behind that one, but
We'll double entendre.
that 100%. I'm gonna talk to the sister offline about that one, but Ev, I know you have your thoughts on to it. Let's hear it.
Yeah. I think it's make or break for him in the sense of what a successful season looks like to me is he is healthy. He is able to play a full season because I feel confident that we've seen exactly what we kind of expected from Tua with him coming into the league is that he's going to be a capable quarterback. He's going to be a good quarterback, probably more in that 10 to 15 range on a year to year basis than he is in the top 10 range, right? Um, to his credit, he did take looks downfield. He was number one in yards per attempt last season and second in average depth of target. We know there's a lot of work done by those receivers. That's not to say that he's one of the most beautiful deep ball throwers, but he was one of the most successful deep ball throwers. And part of that is that offense, but he runs it well and it fits with him well. Obviously, they pushed all their chips to the center of the table there. They have, I think it's 4 guys over the age of 30 with a long injury history making over $20 million. So their cap is going to get really tough and they're going to have some issues here as people age out. They really have this next year or so with Tua to try and make things work. So I think Tua being healthy and just going out there and doing exactly what he did, successfully running this offense, being very capable in that regard. I think that is a successful season for him. I don't think you expect him to be up there with Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow in that top 5 conversation. I just think everybody wants to see him firmly be the 10th to 15th best quarterback in the NFL and stay healthy for the entirety of the season.
I think that was well put. That was a little nicer than what I was going to say too.
A little more
Dang.
eloquent.
A little more eloquent.
I'm too
than I was gonna
nice.
say. But I think we're all rooting for Tua Tagovailoa. Am I agreement there? We're all
Yeah.
rooting.
Yeah,
We
I
all want
love
to see
you
the
too.
guy. We all
Hope
want to
you're
see the guy
watching.
bounce back. We all want to see the guy go on to have a healthy career. Yada yada yada.
Right.
So I guess it remains to be seen what that looks like. This is the part of the show where we're going to open it up for some questions. I want to hear from the people. Want to hear what the people are saying. Give this video a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel. As always, we appreciate your support. We are live, from the First Star Logistics studio here in Cincinnati, Ohio. As always, Daniel, let's get to some of the questions or even get to some of the comments from some people in here.
So if you guys have any questions, once again, drop them down in the chat. But we're going to go back to the Lakers subject really quickly. Our guy, Matt Reichel, Lakers fans want Kyrie Irving. What's you guys' thoughts? Lakers get Kyrie Irving this offseason? If not, where do you guys think Kyrie Irving goes in general?
Evan?
Reports coming out are initially that Mavericks are going to push hard to keep Kyrie Irving for some reason.
For some reason.
They can offer him more money and more years again. Take that for whatever it's worth as either a good or a bad thing. I think that matters on your perspective. If you're Kyrie, you probably think it's a good thing. And if you're a Mavericks fan, I would hope that you think that's a little troublesome. In that same vein, you guys know how I feel about Kyrie Irving. I feel like he is absolutely an upgrade to what they have in terms of their point guard and facilitator area right now. I don't love it for the Lakers. I would love to see them go many, many other directions, in my opinion. But I don't have a great landing spot for Kyrie because I don't want to do that to any teams that I feel good about. So
But before we get to Jules, Evan, Kyrie Irving's on the Lakers. Him, Anthony Davis, LeBron James next year. How does that fail?
how did Kyrie and Kevin Durant and James Harden fail?
Yeah, that's
How
my
did
question.
Kyrie and Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Gordon Hayward and how did all of that fail? I mean, how does every team that Kyrie's been with since LeBron was not there to hold his hand and walk him through things?
Who's there
fail?
in LA?
That's I
James.
understand that, but LeBron can't handle the load he used to. Kyrie
Yeah,
is still
Not
as
the same.
unreliable as ever in terms of games he's going to play, attitude he's going to have, and I have an issue with any player, whether it's NFL, NBA, who is extremely selective about their effort and it's inconsistent because I've talked about it before where you'll see these plays where Kyrie's just walking back on defense and suddenly it's a loose ball and he's sprinting out in transition for a layup. And it's just like, man, you're like such a gifted athlete and ball handler, and I just wish I saw more from him as a playmaker, as a generator of elevating people around him, helping them be better versions of themselves. I wish I saw more of that. I think Kyrie Irving is a top 5 scorer. If you want a guy in isolation to score a bucket, like he's on that list, but it's just all the other areas that leave me wanting when we talk about Kyrie, on top of the fact that the price tag he comes at. How limited is the Lakers roster if you factor in a Kyrie Irving contract? Is he going to take less money to go there? I don't know. I don't know that Kyrie's ego will allow him to do that. If he would, and you can fill out the roster better, I like it, but I just don't see that as reality, in my opinion.
Jules.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, I really just don't see he's not the same Kyrie that he was with LeBron the first or second time. Technically, he's not that same guy, and just like LeBron can't carry that load anymore, like Evan said, and he's failed with other people. So why would this be any different? I mean, I think it makes the Lakers better if he was on the team, but
Jules said
I
he's
could
a
very
failure.
easily see it failing.
Jules said he's
again.
a failure.
I just he's not the same. You don't know what Kyrie are getting night in from night out. Like if he even shows up.
Yeah.
Literally, physically, not even just in a like not scoring way, that if he's actually gonna play. I don't think the Lakers want that type of
It really comes
distraction.
down to like locker room mentality too, man.
Yeah,
like,
you
he
don't
just
wanna mess with the
destroys
locker room more.
chemistry of every team he goes to.
Every single team. He's a
Every
locker room
team.
cancer every single time.
Playing devil's advocate here for a second. Just playing devil's advocate.
Go ahead.
When did Kyrie really start like breaking, if you will? Like when did things really fall off the rails? One could say it was after Kobe Bryant passed away. Like really. And we know their relationship. We know how close they were. And we also heard how that kind of affected him. I do wonder, you know, I'm looking forward to Kyrie's 30 for 30 one day, where he talks about, because there apparently are reports about him even considering walking away from the game after Kobe passed away. Like they were really close. So I'm not trying to give the guy an excuse, but I do wonder, losing a close friend / a mentor like that, what that does to the psyche of a person. And I feel like that's not talked about enough. I feel like Kyrie's his problems that he dealt with after losing Kobe wasn't talked about enough. You know, there are players who said, "Oh, they were sad when Kobe passed away," but there were very few players that were actually genuinely close with Kobe Bryant. Kyrie Irving was one of those that was super close with Kobe Bryant. Like that was his big brother. And I do wonder if that has played a role in Kyrie's quote unquote downfall. Now you could point to Boston. You could say, "Hey, in Boston things didn't work out," but I also think that was part Boston too as well. Seeing as we also know Boston doesn't know how to treat their
Oh yeah,
stars.
100%.
Ask Isaiah Thomas.
Oh
ask
yeah,
Jaylen
that
Brown,
still makes me mad.
and the list goes on. So before I ridicule the guy and really like beat him up, when I have beat him up a couple times on the show, I was sitting back the other day and I was really thinking about that. I was like, I wonder if losing Kobe really affected him mentally and kind of broke him.
I completely understand the impact of that, but like,
But yep, there we go.
again, it's been that consistently throughout his career, right? The maturity kind of locker room issues have constantly been there, and you have other strong mentors and role models in your life. You've got LeBron in your life. You got a good relationship with him. I mean,
But LeBron's different. We can both
I
agree.
understand.
Yeah.
I
No.
understand.
Let me just say
I-
this for a second. Let me say,
right.
because everybody thinks everybody thinks I'm a LeBron lover, and I get called like LeBron sexual and all this kind of stuff like that. I get
I
called
probably
those
do
type
too.
of names. I do get called those type of names. I want to say something like LeBron's a different type of cat. Like he's a weird dude. Like LeBron is the type of guy that I feel like will like show love to you, but like actually have like real like animosity towards you. He's very like passive aggressive, and like there was weird moments between Kyrie and LeBron after Kyrie left LeBron. Like LeBron had some ill will towards him, but then when it was him and Kyrie, it was like, "Oh no, man, everything's great." And I was just kind of weirded out by that a little bit because it just seemed it just seemed so
awkward.
so
But
different.
my overall point is that I completely understand losing a mentor, but like there's obviously a life cycle, right? Where eventually you become the veteran, and he is kind of that veteran where there's other people he has on that he can rely on. And you're 31 years old, man. Like, how long can I?
But
And
Ev,
that was years ago. How
Ev,
long? How long
Ev,
do we make breaks
when,
for that?
when has he actually had a mentor though around him? Because I can argue.
How long do you need?
Hear me out.
one?
Hear
You're
me out. But
31 years
no,
old.
you do
How
need one.
long
You
do
do.
need
That's
one?
like saying a child that never had a dad in their life or a person to look up to in their life, and they grow up to be immature and irresponsible. It's like, okay, you just expect someone to grow with age, and that's just not fair to the person. Hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. Why? LeBron, I don't think LeBron was the perfect quote unquote mentor for Kyrie to learn under. I think that's why a lot of young players don't work well with LeBron, because it's very hard to play with LeBron because it is the LeBron show. You are sacrificing a lot. Remember, he was the man in Cleveland. But then LeBron comes back home, and it's forget about Kyrie. Kyrie's, second fiddle to LeBron. LeBron is obviously the guy that got all the credit and all that kind of stuff. Yet and still, Kyrie heard the biggest shot in that game for even for them to win a championship and so on and so forth. And then you go on from that, obviously not want to being up under LeBron James after you're pretty much being forced to play second fiddle to this guy. Then you go and you're with the Boston Celtics. You're with a young team in Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and you're all of a sudden the veteran, the guy that's supposed to put this all together. Yet and so you never
He said he wanted that.
But
he said he wanted to be that guy.
again, that's like a child saying, "Hey, I want to be an adult. I want to live my own life." You go out, your parents say, "You know what? Fine, go ahead." You move out of your parents' house, and then you realize, "Holy crap, bills are a real thing." It's hard. This adulting thing is hard. And I'm not giving an excuse. I'm just playing devil's advocate here, right? So that situation took place. Then you get thrown into the New York situation, which you chose to go to again. You via bad advice or whatever the case may be. Now you're with Kevin Durant, another megastar. He gets hurt. Now you're forced to carry the load. Then they trade for James Harden, and then he gets hurt, and then Kyrie gets hurt, and then it just boils over and it just sucks. Then you get shipped. You get shipped to Dallas to play with Luka Doncic, who does not like playing with other stars. And so once again, you're forced to play second fiddle to a guy that you believe skill for skill you're probably better than. It's one of those things. And so Kyrie Irving's career has taken a lot of twists and turns. A lot of it is under his own doing and under his fault. I'm just here to say, I just don't think he's had the best of mentorship throughout his career. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's the only devil's advocate that I'm playing for this guy. I think Kyrie has done a lot of stuff to make life in the NBA hard for himself and to make his life hard. I am not here trying to give this guy a pass, but I do think when it comes to having a true vet under you, LeBron isn't a vet. I mean, like, he's a vet, but he's not your traditional, hey, let me take you under my wing vet. It's his way or the highway. And if you don't conform to what LeBron James wants, you're probably getting shipped out or you're probably being exiled.
100% you're out if you don't listen to LeBron.
Right. So it's not the same. And I think that it goes back to when the reporter says, "Oh, can you tell us what type of father figure LeBron has been for you?" He's like, father figure? Like, I got one father, and that's Julius Irving, or whatever he said his dad's name was. It was just very difficult because that's what people thought. That's like Tristan Thompson's not too. I mean, he's old. He's not old, same age as LeBron, but he's not too far off. And he calling LeBron a great father figure. What the hell are you talking about? LeBron's a great father. No, I got that. Nah. So I can understand why Kyrie wanted out from under LeBron, and I can understand why the twists and turns of his careers have taken the effect that they have, and a lot of it is under his own doing. But I do also think that it's difficult, man. It's tough. It's tough. I don't know. I kind of sympathize a little bit with the guy. Just a tad bit. I do. It's been rough.
Especially after you talked about Kobe. I mean, I definitely, now that I think about it, did notice a huge difference. He's always kind of had locker room issues, but I feel like it was just heightened after that. And he was a completely different person.
Kyrie's always been a weird guy.
Always. Yeah.
Even back when he was going to Montclair Kimberly Academy, back in my hometown, he's always been a weird dude. The whole thing with Kyrie's the type of dude where he's much more of a loner. He sticks to himself. He doesn't do the same thing everybody else does. And he admitted in interviews where he wish when he was in Cleveland and, he wishes he would have hung out with the team more. But bro, LeBron has a very overbearing personality. It really does. It's a lot to deal with. Just from all what his teammates have said in the past, they love the guy. I think he's the greatest greatest player, but he's a lot to deal with. He's a lot to deal with. And bro, imagine like dealing with an overbearing person constantly, and then it's like, oh, the whole team is going out on LeBron's dime. LeBron's taking the whole team out to dinner.
That was for like
I'm just saying,
3 years.
bro,
Are we saying this guy was damaged in his career?
Bro.
Halfway
You're
through
saying
it,
3
LeBron
years?
came around for
You're
3
saying 3 years, but how many games do they play in a season? And they spend more time together with each other than they do their own damn
LeBron
family.
being with Kyrie stunted his growth. Like, is that what we're saying? Like, to
I
the
don't-
point where
I-
we
that- I
explain
don't
away
think-
what's
I don't
going
think
on with
it stunted-
Kyrie?
I don't think it necessarily stunted his growth. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is to justify and say, hey, he had a mentor under him. He had a mentor with him.
Okay,
and LeBron James is not
remove
the
the LeBron mentor comment.
Yeah.
that we just shot 10 minutes down the wrong tangent on. Other mentors, Kobe, you talked about how close he was with him. Talking to him throughout all of this.
Sure.
Are we just going to say that Kyrie went through all of this because he was playing second fiddle to LeBron, went to the Celtics, went to the Nets, went to the Mavericks, had all of these same issues, and because he was very close with Kobe, who passed away in a very tragic situation, that like, oh, I get it, like it's fine, like I know the situations haven't been
That's literally not what I said. I literally sat up here and I said Kyrie has put a lot under himself
Mhm.
by his actions, and he's admitted to those things about how he has isolated himself from teammates and stuff like that in the past. So a lot of it is under his own doing. All I'm simply saying is I think we are quick to, and I'm not saying you, I'm just saying in the media, us in the media in general, we're quick to just beat down on Kyrie Irving without obviously doing a deep dive into certain things that have played a role in his career. That's all I'm saying. I am not here to justify an excuse for Kyrie Irving's behavior, because certainly the weird stuff he was doing, whether it be, with the sense and stuff like that before games and all that stuff like that, not showing up to games, and, that's all stuff that he decided to do. Right. That's all stuff that he thought that was best for him. I'm just saying, I don't think he was always given, at least from a team standpoint, where he's playing basketball, physical basketball on a team. I don't know if he's had the right mentorship. He's played with some characters, man. Like LeBron's not a character, but he's a character in a way. You know what I mean? But James Harden and Kevin Durant, those are like some moody individuals.
But
man.
you're friends
Yeah,
with Kevin
they are.
Durant. That's
Right,
why you're there.
But that's what I'm saying. It's weird, man. It's weird. Like, why would you play with him? Like, knowing, like, you're playing with two of the most sensitive players in the NBA. You're playing with two of the most sensitive players in the NBA, and it's weird. It was like the cast-offs in school that nobody that hated everybody, but everybody praised.
Yeah,
but they
there's-
felt like everybody had it out for them, and they like, oh, we're gonna join forces and just like. And then they like, holy crap, we hate each other, actually. We don't like playing with each other. It's
You've
like,
been to 4 different jobs, man, and the office drama somehow always seems to find
I
you.
agree.
And like,
I but I also think it will always follow Kyrie because of the type of person he is. And what I mean by that is Kyrie is not the type of guy. It's like Chris Paul almost. Kyrie, well, maybe a little bit. Like, I'm just saying from the outside, Chris Paul seems very like,
Chris Paul is different. Chris Paul is
You
a
understand.
hard ass.
that's what I'm saying. And he's a smart
Kyrie
ass
Irving is
too.
not a hard ass.
No, but you understand what I'm trying to get at. Like, Chris Paul is very like snarky and like on the
He will be
outside looking
himself.
on the outside looking in it, I don't understand how teammates like Chris Paul. But but that
a lot
kid
of
that
people don't. A lot
Right.
of people just respect
It's
his
almost-
basketball acumen.
it's almost like Patrick Beverly. Like, it's like how could you like this
Yeah.
guy and then you play
You like him
alongside
when he's
him
on
and
your
he's like
team.
you like him when you're on his
it's-
team.
Yeah.
Kyrie Irving to me is a guy, he's just a weirdo.
Mhm.
He's a weirdo, and nobody likes a weirdo. Everybody always judges a weirdo. And I think Kyrie's a weirdo. And I think everybody looks at Kyrie and they say, bro, I'm good. Like, I don't know what you're on. Like, cool. Like, you're a phenomenal talent. Kyrie will literally give you buckets and then go sit on the court by himself.
But that's the thing when
It's
chemistry
so weird.
matters so much. In
Oh,
these
I
series.
understand. And I
does.
think
You
that's
can't
what it is.
isolate
He messes
yourself.
up he
Right.
messes up the chemistry.
Yeah.
You're dropping
He does
something
it to
that is
himself.
literally radioactive.
But
into
I
something
think
that
how
might
you
be functioning
counteract that
well.
is if you have
You gotta have a plan.
a superstar that can uplift it. Like, if you need somebody that can allow Kyrie to be a weirdo, score, do his thing, and like be fine. Just know Kyrie's never going to be that guy that's like, let's go, guys. We got to fight. We got to keep going. He's not going to be that guy. Kyrie's going to be that guy that's going to sit there and stare while the rest of the team is in the huddle. That's Kyrie. That's him. And they have to be okay. You have to be okay with that. Like, and I think that's where LeBron was perfect, because LeBron's the type of guy where the team is going to tick regardless with him at the helm. They're going to tick regardless, right? Like there were even moments where Anthony Davis throughout his tenure with LeBron seemed a little unhappy or whatever the case may be. But the team, it was rough, but they still ticked because it's LeBron James, and LeBron James is always going to go. We're not so reliant on Kyrie Irving being, giving us 40 points to give us a chance. That's like if Luka had a bad attitude and was a weirdo, and then he was also the quote unquote team leader, and the Mavericks are like, all right, cool, like, and then it just didn't work out because Luka was how he was. Anyway, I don't want to. We went down wrong rabbit hole.
Got deep in the weeds.
But I think it's important to talk about. That's what makes the
Yeah.
show unique. That's what makes the show different. People might get tired, might get bored, whatever the case may be. But that's the type of stuff that we talk about on the show because I do want to dive deep past just the norm of just ripping on athletes. Let's actually get down to the nuts and bolts of things. There are things that happen in people's career that change the trajectory. Just like there are things that happen in people's life that change the trajectory. I'm watching a television show right now called Bloodline, where there's literally a cat. You've seen the show. There's a cast off in the dude's family. The dude could have been like the rest of his family, but he wasn't able to be that way because they treated him like an outsider. They treated him bad in events that happened when he was a child. Took a lot of twists and turns and stuff like that. But again, people only see the finished product. People don't see the journey that took you there. But anyway, Kyrie Irving, I appreciate your talent. I appreciate the basketball player that you are. You're a weirdo, but I appreciate the basketball player that you are, and I accept your weirdness because, I know some weirdos too.
Yeah,
We all
he's a
know
baller.
weirdos.
We can accept it.
We all know some
He can be
weirdos.
when he wants to be.
We got one last question for you by Michael Rolfe. Last question, two-parter for Jules.
Oh,
And you can
God.
read it.
So yeah, we got a 2-part question. He said, first off, what's your favorite memory since joining the First Star team? And then number 2, who stole your cowboy hat? We'll get to the cowboy hat after, but your favorite memory since joining the crew.
I'm gonna have to have 2.5. I don't know. Probably the draft party. I really liked it. It was a lot of fun. There's a lot of cool people there, a lot of fun people. And of course, I'm gonna talk about the food.
Oh
It's
yeah,
great food.
oh yeah.
Back to the mac and cheese. God, it's so good.
Even the ice cream here today.
Yeah, and there's ice cream here today. They got an ice cream machine. That's awesome. That's the best ice cream I've ever had. I want one in my apartment. Well, just let me know where you got it. But and then the other memory is actually what we just did was in the press club at the Reds game. That was a lot of fun. And the suite opening day. I'm combining those. Just the Reds game event too. It's fun.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's a lot of good things.
So I guess you can kind of sum it all up by saying First Star is the place to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'll tell you right now, they've treated us like absolute family from the time that we've joined here. I'm happy to have my crew here. We are here at the First Star Logistics Studio almost every single day. I certainly am here every single day. We are here on the sit down each and every single Monday, 7 p.m. Same crew. State of the Jungle Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Same crew. Then you got the right bet tomorrow afternoon, and we can't wait to bring it to you. We've got one more question for you. It's early in the season, but who's the MVP right now in baseball, both AL and NL? Who's the C.Y. Young?
Cy
The-
Young.
Cy Young.
The Cy Young.
Cy Young. C.Y. Young.
That was
I don't know, man. It's a little too early to tell right
too early?
now.
What,
It's
what,
way
about, what
too
about
early.
Shohei? Talk to real quick because I know a lot of people are talking.
Shohei?
Is
I
he-
mean, he's Shohei Ohtani, man. No one's like him. I love that man. I mean,
Kyle Farmer.
Kyle Farmer, yeah. Kyle Farmer for MVP. Bro got hit in the face and he's back. But yeah, I mean, I mainly just pay attention to the Reds, so I couldn't really answer that for
Did
you.
you see the comment section? It
What?
says that studio is lit, looks better than ESPN studio, so bright. Listen, we have some hardworking people who make this show possible, who make the production possible here at First Star Logistics, and that's our family, and we love them so much. We appreciate them so much for making this all possible. We got some big things planned too. We are just scratching the surface with the show, and bringing it live to you guys. We hope that you guys enjoy us bringing it live to each and every week. Unfortunately, next week we will not be live from the First Star Logistics studio on Monday because it is Memorial
Sad
Day,
times.
and we want the entire crew and everybody to spend time with their families and loved ones, the whole 9 yards. But we will be back Tuesday and Wednesday. Tuesday for the Right Bet Show presented by First Star Logistics and sponsored by Betfred Sportsbook. Wednesday for the State of the Jungle presented by First Star Logistics, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We will be back here in the First Star Logistics studio, but The Sit Down with Malik Wright will be back the following month. So not this upcoming, not next Monday, but the following one after that. We'll be back in studio. We can't wait to bring it all to you guys. But thank you guys so much for joining us for another episode of the Sit Down with Malik Wright. If you guys love the show, give this video a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and tell your friends about this show. Tell your family about this show. And most importantly, continue to join us on this journey as we make this show a household name. We can't do this without you guys. I hope that you guys have a great night. Enjoy the NBA game tonight. And let's see if the Lakers could pull I guess a magic trick out their hat.
Haha.
We will see you guys next time, and we hope that you have a great